Friends from the media, good afternoon. Welcome to the press conference. You may now raise your questions.
CCTV, starting from this morning, the PLA Eastern Theater Command is conducting drills in areas near the Taiwan island. Some said the drills are carried out in response to the $11.1 billion of arms sales to Taiwan announced by the U.S. this month. What's your comment? The spokesperson of the PLA Eastern Theater Command has made an announcement of the military drills. The PLA military exercise is a severe punishment against Taiwan independent separatist forces' attempt of seeking independence through military buildup and a necessary action to safeguard China's national sovereignty and territorial integrity. Let me stress that the DPP authorities are hell-bent on seeking Taiwan independence, attempt to solicit U.S. support for that agenda, and even risk turning Taiwan into a powder keg and an ammunition depot. Such attempt fully reveals that the DPP authorities are the one who destroys peace, creates crises, and stokes warfare. The external forces' attempt of using Taiwan to contain China and arming Taiwan will only embolden the Taiwan independent separatists and push the Taiwan Strait toward the danger of military conflict. The Taiwan question is at the core of China's core interests. China is firmly resolved in defending its national sovereignty, security, and territorial integrity. Any egregious move of crossing the line and making provocations on the Taiwan question will face a resolute head-on blow from China. And any ill-intentioned attempt of stopping China's reunification is doomed to fail. Next one, please.
On December the 26th, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu declared that Israel formally recognized Somaliland as an independent and sovereign state. Foreign Minister Saar said that Israel and Somaliland signed a joint declaration of mutual recognition and establishment of full diplomatic relations, was China's comment. China is firmly concerned on and opposes the move. China noted that the government of the Federal Republic of Somalia released a statement at once and firmly rejected the move. Regional organizations and countries, including the African Union, the Arab League, the GCC, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, Intergovernmental Authority on Development, also strongly deplored and condemned the move. According to the purposes and principles of the UN Charter and international law, Somaliland is an inalienable part of Somalia's territory. China firmly supports Somalia's sovereignty, reunification, and territorial integrity, and opposes any move that splits Somalia's territory. The Somaliland question is entirely Somalia's internal affair. It should be resolved by the Somalian people in a way that fits Somalia's national conditions and complies with the constitution. Countries outside the region should stop inappropriate interference. No country should aid and abet the separatist forces in other countries for its own selfish gains. We urge the Somaliland authorities to get a clear sense of where things are headed and immediately stop any separatist activities and collusion with external forces.
Thank you for your attention on China's APEC chairmanship. China, as the 2026 APEC host country for 2026, will hold the 33rd APEC Economic Leaders Meeting in November in Shenzhen. Not long ago in Kyongju, the ROK, the APEC meeting, President Xi Jinping pointed out that China, as the upcoming host country of APEC, stands ready to work with all sides to build an Asia-Pacific community with a focus on promoting practical cooperation on APEC Asia-Pacific Free Trade Zone, interconnectivity, digital economy, and AI, so as to inject more vitality and impetus for Asia-Pacific development and better benefit the people in the region. President Xi Jinping's important speech provides the direction and guidance for 2026 APEC meeting and APEC cooperation. As agreed by members of APEC, the 2026 APEC meeting theme is building an Asia-Pacific community to prosper together. The Asia-Pacific community is not only a goal, but also means practical cooperation and concrete actions. To this end, APEC China Year identifies openness, innovation, and cooperation as the three priority areas. Openness is the lifeline of Asia-Pacific prosperity. We need to jointly uphold the multilateral trading system, foster an open regional economic environment, and boost the interconnectivity level of the region so as to achieve new progress and new results in building an Asia-Pacific free trade zone. Innovation is the source of drivers of Asia-Pacific prosperity. We need to seize the opportunities of innovation-driven development, pull more consensus on areas including AI and digital economy so that new technologies can enable more applications and bridge the digital and smart divide in the region. Cooperation is the foundation of the prosperity in the region. Asia-Pacific is the economic bloc that has the most resource endowment and complementarity of development strategies and stages. APEC built the most fully fledged and multi-layer practical cooperation mechanism, which is the unique advantage of the organization. We need to make full use of all kinds of cooperation mechanisms so as to translate the complementarity of members into opportunities of cooperation so that different economies can pursue different kinds of development. We need to better boost our cooperation in such areas as fiscal and financial policies, food security, energy, small and medium-sized enterprises, transport, tourism, human resources, and healthcare. Let's work together for a full success of China Year APEC and make new contribution to the economic growth in Asia-Pacific and beyond.
I recommend you to the information released by the spokesperson of the Eastern Theater Command. Next question, please. Today, Global Times released 2025 Global Survey on Impression and Understanding of China, which covered 46 countries with a focus on how foreign public perceives, understands, and evaluates China. According to the results, Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era is highly recognized. Global public opinion holds a favorable view of China and looks forward to a bigger role of China. What's your comment? Currently, China's development is now increasingly interconnected with the international landscape. China's image in the world receives great attention. We noted that, according to the survey, Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era is highly recognized. Important visions and philosophies such as building a community with a shared future of humanity, lucid waters and lush mountains are valuable assets. People-centered approach, further deepening reform comprehensively, and advancing full and rigorous party self-governance have been well received. Visions and experience on governance such as the in-depth implementation of the spirit of Central Party leadership's 8-point decision on improved work conduct and formulation of 5-year plans received national acclaim. In the international community, there has been positive outlook on China's economic growth, great interest in China's culture and techniques, expectation of involvement in international affairs and reform and improvement of global governance, and hope that their country will also have friendlier relations with China. We've also noted that since this year, multiple polling institutions have shown that more international people have shown greater interests, greater perceptions, and more acclaim of China. These research results have manifested the world's full recognition of China's development achievements, governance capabilities, openness posture, and cooperation philosophies. They've also demonstrated the expectations of all countries in China's deep engagement in international affairs and leading global governance. Currently, the international situation is intricate. The sound interactions between China and the world and the two-way exchanges are all the more precious. We will continue to open ourselves to the world, share with the world opportunities, and lead the global governance and inject more stability, certainty to the world, and jointly work with all countries to write a new chapter of mutual accomplishment. Next question, please. I want to stress that China's resolve in safeguarding national sovereignty, security, and territorial integrity is unwavering. Any actions that make provocations and cross the lines on the Taiwan question will be met with China's firm response.
We noted the report. China supports all effort conducive to the peaceful settlement of the Ukraine crisis and hopes that parties will reach a fair, lasting, and binding peace agreement through dialogue and negotiation at an early date. On your second question, since the Ukraine crisis broke out, China has maintained communication with relevant parties, including Russia and Ukraine. We have been working for a ceasefire and promoting talks for peace, and our effort speaks for itself. China supports all efforts that are conducive to peace and will continue to play a constructive role to this end.
I just said any actions that crosses the line or makes provocation on the Taiwan question will be met with firm response from China. Next question, please. China
highly commends Russia's firm and consistent support to China on the Taiwan question. The Taiwan question is China's domestic affair. The One China principle is a prevailing international consensus and a basic norm governing international relations. Nothing will deter China from defending its national sovereignty and territorial integrity.
Since the outbreak of the conflict at the border between Cambodia and Thailand, China upholds the global security initiative proposed by President Xi, actively promoted mediation, and under the joint efforts of all sides, the Cambodia and Thailand militaries have reached a ceasefire agreement. China is pleased to see that. Today, the foreign ministers of China, Cambodia, and Thailand met in Yunnan. Foreign Minister Wang Yi stated that the discussions among the three parties are conducive and constructive, and they have formed important common understandings. One is to jointly look ahead and move forward. The ceasefire agreement is hard-won, and it should not stop halfway, and hostilities cannot be resurrected. This is not what people want, and is not what China hopes to see. Second, we need to take an orderly approach to move forward. The implementation of the ceasefire arrangements needs the maintenance of communication and consultation. The resumption of bilateral relations need to take an orderly approach. But so long as the two sides maintain confidence and carry out equal dialogue, such goals can be achieved. Third is that it is most important to rebuild mutual trust. The conflict creates a lack of trust. However, the Cambodia and Thailand are forever neighbors. They have a long history of friendly exchanges. After the meeting, the three sides have issued press statement, clearly stated that Cambodia and Thailand would further enhance communication and enhance mutual understandings in 5 points. Take orderly approach to consolidate the ceasefire, resume exchanges, rebuild political mutual trust, realize a turnaround of the relations, and maintain regional peace. China will continue to promote the Cambodia-Thailand relations development and is willing to provide all support, including ceasefire monitoring, humanitarian assistance, and landmine clearance cooperation. We expect and have the confidence that the Cambodia-Thailand relationship would get back onto the right track at an early date. Next question, please.
CGTN 提问，据报道，缅甸全国大选。
CGTN, it is reported that voting on the first day of Myanmar's general election concluded on December 28th. What's China's comment? The government of Myanmar held voting for the first phase of the general election on December the 28th. Chinese observer team and representatives from relevant countries and international organizations jointly observed the process at the scene. The voting proceeded in a generally stable and orderly manner, making a smooth launch of the general election. We hope that the upcoming second and third phases of the voting will also proceed smoothly and enable Myanmar to stabilize and de-escalate the situation, bring the political situation back onto the right track, realize more broad-based and stable peaceful reconciliation, and restore stability and development of the country at an early date. Next question, please. I've just mentioned, after the outbreak of the border conflict, China has always been actively carry out mediation. We will always be a promoter of the development of the bilateral relations, and it was always willing to provide assistance. We hope the Cambodia-Thailand relationship would get back on the right track at an early date. Next question, please. You can stay tuned to the information released by the spokesperson of the East Theater Command. China expresses the serious dissatisfaction to relevant dismantling of the monument by Panama region and has made solemn representation. The friendly exchanges between the two peoples of China and Panama have dated back long history. In 19th century, a lot of Chinese neighbors went to Panama and made great contributions to the building of railway and the Panama Canal, and some even sacrificed their lives. Such monument is a testimony of Chinese labor's great historical contribution to Panama, as well as the traditional friendship between the two countries. And it's also a recognition of the Chinese people's involvement into the local authorities. The demolishment is seriously undermines the feeling of Chinese people in Panama and violates the general picture of China-Panama friendship. China has noticed that such acts has provoked outrage in Panama. President of Panama has publicly condemned such acts, and the presidential office has ordered the reconstruction of the monument. China asks Panama to look thoroughly into this incident and at an early date rectify relevant erroneous actions and diminish the negative influence as soon as possible. That'll be the end of today's press conference. Thank you.